Can we just pause for a second because I'm seeing the problem very clearly right
And
No,
it's
you're
not my
Oh
own
my
not.
god,
therapist.
this
No,
is
you're
Homo
frustrating me
therapy
so
not.
again.
much.
Bro,
You
I
cannot
actually get
possibly see the
now?
problem
Can
scared.
you just let
so
me
clearly.
speak for a minute? Like,
No.
seriously. Hello, Namaste. Zarna Garg here with the Zarna Garg Family Podcast. So excited to have you all here, and we are going to get into a very controversial topic, a very heated, sizzling, hot topic. All five Gargs are in the house. Let's get right into it. My husband of 25 years, Wall Street veteran Shalab Garg. My daughter, who's a senior in college, Zoya Garg. My son, who's a freshman in college, Bridge Garg. And my middle schooler, Veer Garg, my son. We are all here, and we are going to talk about the topic that is in the news right now: dinner parties, social events, who is hosting, who is getting invited, who's not getting invited. Do we care that nobody is hosting people in their homes anymore? Do we like meeting people in restaurants? If we meet in restaurants, who pays and how much do you pay? What are the trends with weddings? Are we seeing a lot more cash bars at weddings? What are the trends in college campuses? Let's get right into it. Zoya, you just hosted a party recently,
Yes.
and what is your takeaway from the party that you just hosted?
I threw a party with one of my closest friends from San Francisco. We did it in her house, which is a big space, and we hosted and invited, like, it was about 100 people, I think, ended up showing up. And it was from my college, from her college, from San Francisco, different people that we had met. What I really enjoyed, I loved getting ready with my friends. I loved picking out an outfit, getting our hair done, getting our nails done. I loved that. I liked actually setting up the place. I had a lot of fun, like thinking about, oh, we should have a popcorn machine. We should do some balloons. Like, I had a good time setting things up and thinking about the ambiance of the party.
Did you have poker in there, Zoya?
Not at this one because it wasn't
Hmm.
that kind of energy, but I do
Okay.
usually like to have a game as well. I would say the actual party I did not enjoy. I'm going to be honest, I didn't enjoy it. I felt really stressed out. I felt worried whether or not people were having a good time. I got to connect and see a lot of different faces I hadn't seen before, and I felt really grateful that I was able to create a space where people who had invited me, I was now inviting them and hosting. But I actually hated hosting. I didn't enjoy it. At the end of the night, I called Scary Dog at 2 a.m. in tears. Why did I even do this? I just feel so exhausted. I feel so lame. I feel like a failure. Like, I just felt so bad. I hated it. I actually hated it.
What was the age range of people? Was it all just college people or your
I would say
professional
the
friends
age
as well?
range was 20 to 26. It
Okay.
was professional people too. I mean, there were like people who had worked at OpenAI, people I worked with at Apple, people who went to Stanford, people who went to Penn, people who, like, it was a very high intelligence group of people. Like, everybody there was really smart, but it was just like constantly dealing with different people's complaints. Why don't you guys have veggie burgers? I don't like the music. Um, I like I wish that the drinks tasted like this. Like, oh, like so and so isn't here. Are they even coming? Like, it just felt like just a lot of people who weren't grateful at all that we had even tried to do something. And more than that, it didn't seem like anybody was committed to trying to make this fun. It felt like people were just expecting fun to come out of the air and for me and my friend to just provide it. And we did everything we could to do that, but at a certain point it's like I get tired too, and I got
Yeah.
tired and I didn't enjoy it. It didn't energize me. I don't plan on throwing a party for a very long time, probably until I feel like I am obligated to, because I've been invited to a bunch of things. But I did not like it in the end. I liked everything
Zoya,
actually
you
before it.
Zoya, you okay with saying all this on a podcast that you know
Yeah.
many, many, many
No,
people?
I am very comfortable saying that. And maybe I just did it wrong. Like, for people, or maybe I'm not well suited to partying. I mean, I don't go to parties, right? Who am I to be throwing a party, right? Like, I actually don't even go to parties ever because I prefer meeting people in smaller groups, and I don't drink. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
that's the other thing is my crowd of friends are like, they're very intelligent, very nerdy. They're not
Did
the
you
kind of
serve
people.
drinks even though you don't
We
drink?
did.
Hmm.
We did. But it's not like
I mean,
people
they're
were
all
like,
21 plus. I mean, at this point, they can all have drinks. So,
yeah, but
I'm
people weren't overindulging in the drinks as well,
really.
Which,
So, that is a trend. Like, you're not seeing people getting slobbering drunk and all that.
no, no. I felt like people maybe had one drink, if that. And usually it was even just like a seltzer drink or whatever. So there's very
Hmm.
little alcohol even in that.
Who paid
And
for the party, Zoya?
me and my friend paid for the party together.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
people had free food, free drinks, and yet you felt that they did
Yeah.
not.
No, I felt like, yeah, I felt really taken advantage of,
And
honestly.
the
And
next
where
morning,
was the party? It was in your dorm
It was
or
in
your
my friend is graduated college, so she has a house, and we hosted it here.
the thing is that then you wake up the next morning and you look at the wreck because now you have to deal with the cleanup of it and all, and
Yeah,
people
I
just come
think
and go.
hosting parties, the reason that I don't like to host, well, I don't throw parties, but I'm saying the reason I don't like to host people at all, or my friends or anybody, is because it's the party or the hangout can be as fun as ever, but the cleanup is like the worst thing ever. Even if you guys do it, I don't want to put that burden on you for the fun that we had. That's just not fair to you guys.
Mm.
But at the same time, I agree that it's not fair to just leech off of other people and always go to their parties and then not host them ever.
I
Yeah.
mean, now most people will be like, we'll host you in a restaurant so that it's like a more neutral space and it ends when it ends. Because the problem with hosting at home or in like in a private space is that it doesn't end when the party ends.
And that's okay, so that I agree with. One thing though that I've been thinking a lot about is like this idea of like acquaintances. So something I have a huge issue with, this is me being a classicist, is like in Latin and in other languages, there are a lot of really specific ways to refer to friendships and to acquaintances. So like the word for acquaintance is the most commonly used word, like my comrade in Latin and Roman history. You don't say the word friend really ever. Like they didn't use the word, they used the word friend
Hmm.
very sparingly. Like they
And
would
why
use,
is that? I don't understand the cultural
the
context.
reason for that is because not everybody is supposed to be your friend. Your friend is supposed to be like, you should be able to count your friends on one hand.
See, I like that. I
And no,
agree with that.
and
100%.
and
That
just
makes sense to me. I
wow,
belong to
I
the
love
Roman
that you
era.
and I are so on the same page. I think
Yes.
one thing that is being lost in my generation is this idea that when you're in your early 20s, it's important to have a lot of comrades, a lot of acquaintances, a lot of people that you pick up from work experiences, from school, from friends of friends. Like, otherwise, how do you meet people? I saw two people like exchange numbers and are going to go on a date this week from our party. Not that that matters, but it's like you should these are opportunities to like build relationships that otherwise wouldn't happen. So I think it's really important. I think it's very important to maintain relationships that are comrade, ally, acquaintance like with different people who you've met and appreciate and respect. I find that to
Rich,
be important in my
do
life.
you feel any pressure to host parties?
No. First of all, I don't own a house. Like, there's nowhere I'd own. There's nowhere I'd be able
No,
to
but do
host a
you feel
party.
the pressure to even organize and say, let's meet, or like, like I think the girls definitely feel some pressure to host and to organize things. I wonder if it's a girl boy thing. Like, do you even feel the pressure to be like, let me plan a football hangout or whatever?
No, definitely not. Like, when I make plans with
No?
my guy friends, for example, it's always very, very, first of all, like, I'd say 90% of the time, they just end up not happening. And then the 10% of the time the plan does happen, it would just be like, yo, you free? And someone be like, yeah. And then, like, someone else will come, and then bam, that's a plan. Like, there's never any, I don't think there's ever some sort of, like, deep thought behind it. I don't think it's that serious. Personally, I mean,
Not even for the upcoming Super Bowl. Is there like a plan for that?
at college, the plan for like Super Bowls and stuff is a frat, right? If there's a Super Bowl going on, then frats host parties, and then you either go to the frat or you don't go to the frat, and we'll watch Super Bowls with like your friends. But I wouldn't plan it. I would just like talk to people who I know. Because me personally, I'm not in a frat because I didn't rush. So I would talk to people who like aren't in frats and see if they want to hang out. But it wouldn't be like some crazy, oh, I need to provide food. Oh my God, I'm stressing out this whole event. Oh my God, all of this. Like I disagree with the whole mindset of like allowing that to happen to you, and I disagree with the whole caring about it so seriously. And I don't think it's a girl boy thing. I think it's like there's two reasons to host a party in my opinion. One is just for fun, or like maybe you feel like you owe people a party because you've been to parties. Or two is for like a work/networking event, or you need to organize
What
something
about
for your work.
celebrating things?
But Bridge, okay,
Celebrating goes into party. Yeah.
here's my thing. I have gotten so much value out of being friends with people just for the sake of being friends with them, also in a professional manner. Like, not just from a networking standpoint, but like the first person that helped me get a job at Apple was this girl that I was just friends with in college. Or my friend who helped me with my presentation for my classics class, she came to the party yesterday. These are people that like have actually worked and invested time into building me up, and I try and do the same with them. I think this idea that
That's
you have to
networking. You are
separate.
defining networking in this like
No, I'm not. No, I'm
in this
not.
comment.
No, I'm
Yes, you are.
not. I
You
disagree.
made friends
I
off based of respectful relationships that you both benefited off of because they help you with your future endeavors and you help them with their future endeavors. That's
I
literally
don't think
Yeah,
it's
networking.
network. These are
but Rich,
friends.
it's not so,
Yeah,
Sarah, it's not,
it's not so black and white. And this
it's not
idea,
transactional when
yeah,
you're
it's
actually hanging out.
But that's
There's
not
a
what
yeah,
I'm saying.
transaction.
I'm not
yes,
saying a
that is.
transactional. No, it's not. How could you define what I'm saying? I'm saying in the
Networking
second example of our
reduces
part,
it.
I'm saying it doesn't reduce it. Putting a that's just a negative connotation that you have on the word networking. But I don't think it reduces it at all. Making friendships based off respect and being able to help each other is networking, in my definition of what
No,
networking is.
I disagree
That's what
completely.
I. Okay, so then you can have a different opinion. I'm saying what my opinion is
I
on
mean,
what
maybe it's
networking
different
is.
for slightly older, but for a close friend of ours was celebrating her 50th birthday and did a little get together. And there were maybe about 50 people in the party she organized in her apartment and finger foods from an Indian place. And, it was nice to be able to see all these people I had not seen for a long time. They were mostly women, but some men as well. I mean, their husbands were there too. And, I thought it was a fun party to go to. And I'm sure it was not cheap because there was an open bar and she had organized, Indian food that you could eat. And um, I don't know what you thought, Zarna, because you were there too, but I thought it was a fun party to attend.
Yeah, very fun. Very
Hmm.
and an easy way to meet a lot of people, which is
At the
what
same
Zoya is
time.
saying.
Hmm.
And there was no, I know what you're saying, Bridge. I know
Hold on,
that
I'm also not saying I'm anti-party and saying that there shouldn't be parties. I'm saying for my type of parties, there's two classifications, which I've already told on this podcast now. But what I'm saying in addition to that is that if you are gonna host those other parties, you do not need to like be so type A about it in the fact that you're stressing out and
I,
everything. That's my point. And I know
my
you and mom
problem.
have different opinions, but that's
No,
my personal opinion.
the reason why I'm pushing you on your definition of parties is I think I feel the way you framed things is very transactional and is this idea of like I am friends with somebody and they can mutually benefit me and I can mutually benefit them. Like it just feels really gross. Like I actually hate the way you described it so much. Like I actually wish we could even erase it from the podcast. You throw parties with people that are smart and with people who align with you in values and you do it because you just appreciate them and that's why you do it. That's it. And because
And
those
guess what?
people
Guess what, guys? Guess what, guys? That's networking. That is literally networking 101. Whether you want to
ew.
hate the,
but
you
that's
can hate
okay.
the word networking. You can say you all you want to the word networking. I am not saying
No,
networking is
because you're
bad.
making it
You guys are,
sound no, we can get into an argument about this. That's fine. I
we
actually think
can.
this is
I'm
a
totally
relevant
fine to do
debate.
that as well.
No,
Yeah.
but stop be unemotional about it then. I think the way that you're describing networking
You
is
just called my
you're
word
cutting
ew
me
and
off.
said you could erase it for the podcast.
You're
That is what
you're
emotional
cutting
looks like.
Yeah.
I have
you're
not
cutting me
exactly,
off.
Veer. Thank you. Like, what are you talking about?
There's something so stickly, like I just hate. This is something I hate. I hate. I think we need to be more opinionated, and I actually really like the word hate. I hate when people treat college like it's a place to create relationships upon which transactional exchanges can happen. That is not how business works. I have seen in mom's career, in the work I've done with mom, in work I've done on my own self, the way the deal flow and also like building each other up, finding people who can collaborate with you in ways that make sense happens is by creating authentic friendships, very authentic friendships on the basis of, for example, my friend with Rachel, we made fun of like we were talking about like AI voice agents and we had this great philosophical conversation about that movie that talks about voice agents. And then my classics friend, her and I were talking about Cicero and like the implications of Cicero in the ancient world. Like we just had really engaging conversations and I adore them and I would help them in the ways that I can. But this idea of reducing it, networking, the word networking in its definition, which I'm more than happy to Google and read the definition to you, implies a business oriented transactional nature where you are going to a place to increase your LinkedIn connections in order to further yourself in the world. That
But
is
I,
so
I think
Wait, no, no, let me respond. I fundamentally disagree with what you just said. I agree with everything about making great relationships that are built on friendship that can possibly have mutual effects, but it's for the purpose of friendship. I agree. But I also think personally, and I do think very strongly that is an example of what networking is. For example, one of the reasons you applied to Stanford, and I remember this all happening, was so you could surround yourself around people who are trying to better themselves and have a prosperous in the future. The reason I applied to go to Cornell was so I could put myself in situations where I meet people who are worried about their future. That's not so I can use them to get my future ahead or me use them. It's so I can become close with them and learn off them and potentially help each other. That is what networking is.
That is
If,
networking.
otherwise, if
but
it's
can
based
we
off, if it's based off of, if it's based off just personal relationships, then why not just go to any college? Why are we paying for college at all? Let's just go to community college and have great
I
friendships.
hate
okay,
the word networking. I
I
will
under
die on
okay,
that
okay,
hill.
just can we just pause for a second because I'm seeing the problem very clearly right now.
No,
And it's
you're
not my
Oh
not.
my
mother.
god,
No,
this
you're
Almost
pressure is
therapy
so
again.
high.
Bro,
You
we're
cannot
actually just
possibly see the problem
Can we just let
so
me
clearly.
speak for a minute? Like
no.
seriously, it's you guys, Zoya and Bridge have highlighted a very fundamental male and female problem. Women make friends, and then when they want to talk business, they think they're intruding, they're very hesitant, they think that am I making a business favor? And I go through this even right now as a businesswoman myself. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Am I taking advantage of my friend? Are they going to be upset? We do Men make friends, and if there's a business question they just ask. So when Bridge is using the word networking, he's not using it in the way that women perceive networking to be. Guys hang out and talk business all the time and say yes and no to each other all the time, and no feelings are hurt. Whereas in women's cases, like if I do ask my friend, hey, will you open for me? And then I'll be like, oh, I should have asked. Maybe she thinks she's a bigger comic than me. Now she hasn't responded. Why she hasn't texted? It is a fact that women and men in general perceive networking differently.
Wow, that was a banger,
Whereas
mom.
the
That was a
guys will
banger.
go, Bridge will ask a guy at like something, hey, you want to do this? And if he says no, I don't think his feelings are going to be hurt.
I
You just
agree with
move on
you.
to
I
the
actually
next
think
thing.
I do think, mom, for once in our family arguments, you actually did identify the problem.
For
What
once.
are you talking about? I'm literally the world's leading almost therapist. This is what I do. And but
That
it
was
is
impressive, though. That was some really impressive work. That
Oh
was
my
like
god,
some
stop
really.
glazing her, bro. Like, okay,
Yeah,
we get
exactly.
it. Like, we get it. Are you
You know what I
serious?
hate?
Like, are
No,
you
no, no,
insane?
no,
Bro,
no, no,
how many
no,
times are you
no,
gonna say
no,
it?
no,
Like,
no, no, no,
we
no,
get
no, no.
it.
No, no, no. You know what I hate? You know what I
Oh
hate?
my god.
I hate
Oh
this
my
word
god.
glaze. I hate this idea that
Bro,
when you
we
compliment
get
somebody,
it.
no, Bridge.
You
I
didn't just
What's
hate.
up
compliment
with
her.
hate?
You did not
No,
compliment her.
Okay,
You said, "Oh, mom, that was a
I.
good idea." Everyone's silent. Mom, that was a great idea. Like, bro, we get it. We get it. We heard you the first time. We did not need five different declarations about how good of
Actually,
an idea it
okay,
was.
but Bridge, okay, Shalab, can we come back to you for a minute because you have famously only made one real friend in your life.
oh my god.
Okay. No, it's
why are
okay.
we?
No, but he talked about it. When you said it should be in one hand, he was like, yes, I agree with that. Now, at your age, reflecting back, do you wish that you had done a little more networking, old school style? Or do you feel good? Do you feel happy that your world is very tiny and small and this is how you like it?
No, I
That
wish
felt
I
like
had
a
networked
leading
more.
question. I
No,
feel like
it's not. I don't know which way he's going to go. I actually
No,
think
no, I do think that I should have networked more, and I wish that I had created more. Look, for a period of time, I lived a very arrogant life, and I wish I had not, and I wish I had networked more and allowed more people into my life at a more, um, you know, at a level where more trust was developed, where we knew each other more as individuals, and had done more of that. And when I think I do better job of it today because I acknowledge that about my life. But I don't think it's a good idea to. Um, Now, Zoya is right about one thing, that you can still differentiate between friend like close friendships and collaborations. So you don't have to sort of allow everyone so intimately in your life that they know every little detail about such life. But I do agree that networking and making friends and knowing as many people as you can is important,
why?
because those relationships come back to you in a positive way down the road when you least expect it. And you cannot just then on demand create them when you may need those
Yeah.
relationships. It's
No,
sort of not like you can sort of go in and out of them on demand at your um, time frame.
no, I
They're
agree
either
with that.
there, and then you can sort of mooch off of them or not, but you cannot just randomly create them.
Totally. I agree with that. I just think that's different than, yeah. But I think mom hit the core issue of why I was feeling, oh my God, you know what? I'm just not going to talk, Veer. You know what? I'm just
No,
not going to be
Veer,
my
yeah,
authentic
No,
that's
self.
I
no,
wasn't laughing about that.
no.
I was laughing
Naveen,
about the fact
you
that I
have
thought
this
Baya.
tendency. You do this all the time.
I was laughing about the fact that I thought Baya was gonna chime in again and say you're glazing because I heard last time he said it, you're gonna say it again. I thought he would say it again.
Okay, but I have a question for Bridge. Zoya is in a sorority, so if she wants to do something social, she's part of it. You chose not to be part of a fraternity. Do you feel left out? When a big game is happening, do you feel like you wish you had somewhere to go? You wish you had somebody to hang out with?
No, I'm not weak
No?
minded. I'm not a sheep. Like that doesn't affect me. That type of stuff is like
What?
way in behind me. Like I'm different level, different like levels of life. You know, I'm someone who thinks of
What
themselves as like someone who can carry the boats and logs, and like those people are
Oh
not
my
people who can
god,
like.
you are not. He's like thinking of himself as an alpha male right now. Like,
what does that mean, Bridge? I didn't follow you. Can you explain that?
See, Dad is
Like
excited because he wants to be that too. Did you see
No,
what
no,
just
no, no,
happened
no.
on
I'm
his
just
face?
curious. I didn't understand. I really just didn't understand it.
He
What does it
said,
mean?
Bridge said, I'm the kind of man that carries the boats and the logs. What do you
What does
think
that
that
mean? I don't know. So you
Who
actually
carries
go
the
in.
boats and the logs in the ancient times? Like the real
Oh,
men.
okay, okay. I understand
Oh,
the
now.
real men.
okay.
Okay, I
Even
get it
I
now.
was confused, but yeah, Bridge and I, we have talked about this before, so now
oh
I
my
now
god!
we
Every time I say anything, mom says Bridge and I. We
You
have
know
not
what I
talked about
hate? You know what I hate? When mom goes, X and I. X and I
that.
yeah,
did
as
this.
we
X
did,
and I.
we have had this conversation of are you an eagle or
Also,
are you a sheep?
I wanna amend something too. Didi is not in like a very typical sorority. It's not. The sororities on my campus are very different than the one that she's in. The sorority she's in is like a almost a professional sorority in the way that it's like very
Yeah, I
everyone's
do.
very committed to their
It is
future.
very
But that's not a
professional. I
typical
think,
sorority. That's not what a
yeah.
typical sorority looks like. Just so like people are
I
aware.
think,
That's not the
I
type of
think
sorority she's in.
the reason why I like, and I mean, I think this is a really interesting point because obviously sororities are associated with party culture. Every sorority party that my organization has thrown, and I'm an RA, like I'm a leader in it, I have not gone to. I don't go to a single party. What I do is I enjoy the meals there. I really love the girls there. I think the pre-professional network, for example, my friend, this Indian girl who's a sophomore, she's on the women's soccer team at Stanford. She might become one of the best Indian soccer players, like female soccer players in the world. I actually really believe in her. And I met her through my sorority. She's my neighbor. Like, and I help her with her varying things because I believe in that lineage. And I think that organization socially has been really helpful for me because honestly, it is networking too. Actually, like I agree. Actually, I
Oh
do.
my god, did
Uh,
we just come a full circle
because
after
no,
all
I
that
hate saying
yelling?
it. No, I do feel it feels really gross saying it. I'll be honest. Like I do have an allergic reaction saying that. Like I think I wonder if it is what mom's saying. When I say the word networking, like I live with amazingly ambitious, amazingly talented girls that I think I can help and they can help me. And who
So is
knows?
it different when you're doing this with men, the networking part, or is it the same both with both sexes?
It's different when I'm doing it A with men and B with people older than me. There's something about talking about my friends in this manner that's making me feel really allergic. And I
But
really,
one way to resolve it, and I know exactly what you mean, one way to resolve it is not to think of network as just as you taking. Because I'm part of many, many networks and I try my best to give double of
yeah,
whatever I take.
you are a giver,
So if
mom. You are such a
somebody
giver.
is collaborating with
God.
me,
Okay, that
You
was a
can't even
weird.
lie.
Like, are
You
you
can't even lie.
serious? Are you insane?
but it's true. We have right now pre-order collaborations going on. And the way to not think of networking as a bad thing is that you remind yourself that you are part of their network and that it's your
The,
prerogative and your job to also give back to them. And it's always top of my mind. Any brand, any company, any celebrity, anybody who ever collaborates with me, I'm always aware that it's incumbent upon me to give them value back. And true networking works both ways. It cannot be one way, and that's one way to
Yeah.
make it feel better than it is what
No,
I'm saying.
I
I'm just
100% agree with that. But I also think it's touched the top of her mind when she said top of my mind.
I didn't even notice that she did that.
It is here, top of the mind. Lot
Oh
of
my
Veer, what do
people.
you
gosh.
think on this topic? I know that you're young, but still.
Well, I don't go to parties, and neither do I
But no,
network.
you
So
do, Beer. Your friends do invite you, and you had a birthday party too. So,
But also,
is there
Veer, and
any
your stance, for example, networking, unintentionally, which is what my whole point of this episode and like what I've been like arguing with Didi about is you position yourself to be friends with people who play sports. And as a result, you and those friends play sports with each other after school. You play basketball during lunch. You play football during lunch, right? Like you position, even though you were looking specifically maybe to maybe play sports with them, that's what your intention was behind it, right? No, it wasn't your intention.
yeah,
Sorry. It wasn't your intention, but you became close friends with them and you put
Yeah.
yourself in a situation where you meet those people. You went to the basketball courts by yourself, met those people, became friends with them. You tried out for the basketball team by yourself, met those people and played basketball with them, right? Like that is, even though the word might be disgusting to some people, that is networking, even if it's not like the intention behind it. And you give back. You're playing basketball with them. You're helping them get better and they're helping you get better so that the team is better,
yeah.
right? That is what the core of it is. That's what I'm trying to say in this episode.
But I will say one thing, having thrown many, many parties in my life for all kinds of reasons, birthday parties, Holi, Diwali, end of year, New Year, blah, blah, it is almost inevitable that the day after the party, the host feels used. It
Yeah.
just is, it's an almost impossible feeling. I've stopped now because I just don't have the emotional bandwidth, because it's impossible not to wake up the next day and be like, what did I do all this for? Even when it's fun, it feels like you spent all this money, all this energy. And even if 90% of your guests were grateful and happy and had a good time, the 10% that had issues or misbehaved or dropped and broke things, it sticks in your head. You wake up the
Yeah.
next day and you're like, I remember one time, a friend of mine's had thrown a Diwali party, and we all had such a good time. And the next day, she woke up in her house, and there was a whole glass of red wine on one of her sofa cushions. But whoever dropped it flipped the sofa cushion, so she didn't
Oh,
see it until the next morning.
that is so
And like,
bad.
I
Oh.
remember thinking, oh my god, like, this is, and by the
Animalistic
way, when you
behavior.
guys were little, you don't remember, when you guys were little, you guys used to have all your little friends come over, and we had a leather sofa. I was one of Zoya's friends who came and was playing with a ballpoint pen, and she took her pen and she dug it into the leather sofa and just ripped the whole top of the sofa off.
That's
And
What was
luckily,
the result? Did the
what was the
mom,
result?
did the
Her
parents
mom
or
said,
something?
I'm so sorry. There's nothing. What am I going to do? It was a 3 or 4 year old kid who did it, but that sofa was destroyed. And the thing is that when you host people, that's kind of part of the calculation that things will happen that you can't necessarily control. And for that reason, it's impossible not to feel used the day after the event. Even if it was a great event and 95% of the people behaved properly and everybody made friends and all. So it's a delicate balance. But we are human beings and we are social creatures. We want to hang out with each other. We want to create a world that we want to live in. So it's a delicate balance.
I don't like the even split of the check at a restaurant.
You don't?
Hmm.
Why?
Why?
Because everybody eats and drinks differently. Like I feel like if you're going to a restaurant and
Yeah.
there's 10 people or 8 people and it's supposed to be not hosted by one person, in other words, you're planning to split the check, I feel like, you know you're never going to agree on what to order. Some person will order 10 more drinks, some person will order the most expensive thing. Now all of a sudden I feel like you're paying for someone else, so you might as well then host the thing, as opposed to making this idea that it was supposed to be a.
I mean, dinner check split is a whole topic for another because it's
Yeah.
so wrong. Especially, I don't drink, I don't eat meat, I don't eat all the
Oh my
expensive
god, mom, you
seafood.
don't even eat meat. I just thought about that.
No, I don't
Oh,
eat meat, I don't eat seafood. I
that's
usually have a
horrible.
salad, or a pasta, and I have a
No,
set.
that was him. It was him. It wasn't me this time. So don't even
Beer,
like.
you're always doing this.
No,
Beer.
it
No.
was Bridge.
Oh,
Veer,
this is gonna be
Veer, you
It
need
was
angry.
to
Bridge.
stop, bro. It's
No,
not
it was
considerate.
Bridge this time. It was Bridge this time, and it's usually Bridge all the time. It's actually like 2/3 of the time Bridge, 1/3 of the time Beer.
No,
It's
but
like
how
1/10 of
to
the time
split
me.
how to
One
split a
third.
dinner check is a whole another conversation that we're gonna get into. But this was our episode on parties, hosting, social event, all things. hanging out and being social. I can't wait to hear what you think. What are you guys doing? Are you throwing parties? Are you attending parties? Are parties up, parties down, in the house, in a restaurant, in a neutral space? What is the trend? We want to hear from you. And as we end every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, so too we will do it this round. Each Garg will assign somebody else an A grade. So who wants to go first?
I'm going first. I'm going to give my A grade to mom. She did an amazing job figuring out why I had such a visceral reaction to Bridge and my conversation about friendship versus networking. I actually really, really felt uncomfortable in my skin when we were talking about that. And I can't believe mom was able to figure out what the source of that was. And I'm really curious.
He's laughing.
in the
Look at
comments-
look at him laughing. He's
I
smirking.
didn't laugh. I didn't even
Guys,
smirk.
guys, I'm gonna continue to compliment great quality of thought, and if you guys want my glaze, then you should just improve your thoughts. And
I do
think
get the glaze.
I just think I would love to know what people in the comments how they feel about this issue, because it really made me uncomfortable. Like, that was one of the first times I was like, ooh, like I can't even have this conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm
Who
going to
wants
give mine to Zoya for at least hosting a party, even though
Yes.
I know it's a lot of work and effort. And honestly, when I was your age, I tried to host a similar party in Europe once, and people didn't even show up. So you should be proud of what you did. And, you know, you know,
Dad, you are
over
so cute. I actually
generation over
can't.
generation, we have improved a lot, I would say, in that regard.
Dad, you're
Yeah.
actually perfect. You're so perfect.
Well done, Beta.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
I can give my A grade to Didi because I do think that she understands now that she did feel uncomfortable, but she was wrong in her side of the argument, and I like that she conceded that she was incorrect because that's something that people don't do often. But she understood why she was incorrect and conceded that she did feel uncomfortable, and that's why like may have driven her to her stance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you were basically just trying to like
Yeah,
drive
he
up
was
your
blazing
self-ego
himself.
in
He was- yeah.
giving her the A grade.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
you were reminding yourself that you were correct and she was wrong in the A grade. That's what you were trying to do.
Dude, that was
Alright, bro,
exactly
give your
right,
A,
bro.
who are you giving your A grade to, bro? Like, stop yapping.
I'll give my A grade to mom because she consistently throws the best parties and she always she never makes us feel bad for when we have fun, and she has to be the one doing all the hard work. She always encourages us to do
She
stuff.
does throw the best parties, though.
She does
You're
throw the
absolutely
best
right.
parties.
Yeah.
I agree.
I have never seen a party where your mom threw
It gets
and
to
people
the
didn't
point
have
where
to.
people don't want to leave, and we have to start nudging them like you got to go, rather than them wanting to leave and like stay.
Bridge, you didn't think that was glazing. Why did you not think Veer was glazing me?
Because I was
No, because you know usually.
But that's
Bridge
an
just
that's an
comes
A
down
grade.
to Zoya.
That's different.
Huh?
That's an A grade. This is an A grade. It's not. It's like the whole point of an A grade is two glaze.
All right, I'm gonna give the A grade to Zoya because hosting a party in college is not easy. So a lot of insecurities. There's a lot of restrictions, the space, the money, the time, and to put it together thoughtfully the way she did. I know she goes out of her way to include kids that she thinks should be included, even whether they've invited her ever or not. And she takes a very sophisticated high road on this. And I really appreciate it because the world needs more of that. Like, everybody cannot just walk away and be like, I don't want to host, I don't care. Like, we need to come together as people and hang out socially. That is just a function of life. And I appreciate that she had alcohol there, even though she doesn't drink, and everything was controlled and measured. Like, people were very measured, and it's very hard to pull that off. And for that, you get the A grade. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our podcast, enjoyed watching our family dynamic, even the little explosions that we have. We can't wait to hear what you think about parties, hosting, who pays, coming, going. When was the last time you had a party? We want to hear your thoughts. Give us your A grades in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe this episode because we would like to grow with you. We would like you to bring your friends and family members into our universe. We can't wait to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody say bye.
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 Bye.